Welcome to another Gamers Class video. I'm Defied from Gamers Class and also over on YouTube with some other videos, but today I want to talk to you about how to review your own replays. No doubt most of you have submitted your replays to be analysed by one of our top tier coaches, and if you have, you would have taken away a lot of really valuable information on how you can improve and step up your gameplay. Even though the coaches might have a deeper understanding of the game, you can still and should review your own replays to understand where you are going wrong and what you can do instead to help you improve.
If you like this kind of content, go to gamersguys.com. For just $10 a month, get your replays analyzed, watch masterclasses with pro players, join weekly coaching sessions, win prizes, and more with our Supreme Dota 2 membership.
The first thing you need to do when doing your review is to document it, and this is probably not a popular idea because it is a lot easier to just watch your replay and think about your mistakes but never actually write them down. If you don't write them down though, you'll soon forget what your mistakes are and might end up falling back into your old habits. I recommend grabbing a notepad or a Word document, and as you go through your replay, write down the timestamps in the replay and what you did wrong and how you can improve it. You can even go so far as categorizing your mistakes, for example, positioning errors or mechanical errors or wrong items or whatever, and after a while this will help with identifying patterns of mistakes that you can correct. When looking at the games you should review, I recommend going with the close losses, as these ones typically will have some elements of both good and bad gameplay, but often you'll see some big mistakes that cost you the game. Finding those mistakes and working out what you could have done differently will help you avoid making those same mistakes, and instead of costing you the game, it might win you the next one. I probably wouldn't bother reviewing stomps, both win or loss, as these kinds of games can just be demoralizing or are a result of something not necessarily within your control. Maybe there was a disconnected player or someone was trying a new hero. Either way, there is not as much you can learn from this type of game. Also, try to give yourself a day or two before reviewing your replay. Unless you are the calmest and most relaxed person in the world, you need a little bit of time to put the game behind you and remove the emotion that might have been associated with it. Sometimes we gamers can get quite emotionally attached to certain games, and we need to just let go of that before we can really learn from it. If you review too early, you might get frustrated or miss mistakes that you are making because you are not fully focused on your improvement. 1 or 2 days is usually enough for me to put those feelings aside and focus on where I can make some improvements. A Dota match can go for a really long time, and you could make hundreds of tiny little mistakes through the whole game, and if you manage to pick all of them up, it can be quite overwhelming to try and improve them all in your next game. I'd try to focus on improving just 1 or 2 at a time, but try to identify the ones that will have the biggest impact for the smallest amount of effort. This is based on the 80-20 rule, which basically states that the biggest portion, or 80% of the results, come from just 20% of the effort. Finding those mistakes that can boost your gameplay with a really simple change or small amount of practice are the ones that you want to tackle first, as they will give a nice boost to your confidence. After you've handled those ones, your MMR will begin to rise and you can start to tackle the finer details of your gameplay as you start getting better. Alright, so moving on from the meta of learning, let's look at some of the things you should look out for in your replays. Probably the most obvious thing to look at when reviewing your gameplay are your deaths. You never want to die in Dota, but it is inevitable, and there can be some valuable lessons to learn from your deaths. Look at your gameplay and the events leading up to your death, and ask yourself if there is anything you could have done better or differently that might have resulted in you not dying, or at least being more effective before you died. Maybe you were caught out of position because you dived too far, or were just not standing far enough back in the fight. Could you have used a blink dagger or teleport scroll to escape? Did you miss your spells? There are heaps of things to look at and consider, but try to identify each of them, write them down, and also what you could have done which might have worked better. Another thing to look at when doing your analysis are your hero and lane matchups. While this might not directly improve your mechanical skill, it will give you a deeper knowledge and understanding of the game. This knowledge can help impact how you play certain matchups in the future. Perhaps you are at a severe disadvantage in your lane, but you played too aggressive because you didn't fully understand that you were at a disadvantage. Maybe next time you can play a little more defensively so you die less often and do a better job in your lane. Doing this might also help with drafting a better hero or lineup in the future, since you will have a better understanding of the matchups. Another good thing to look at are the times when you are not really doing too much in the game. Either you're not farming, forgetting to stack camps, walking from one lane to another, or waiting for your team to smoke. All of these are inefficiencies that you can identify and reduce in future games. This is extra time that you can be spending farming or ganking more effectively. Some of these are more important than others, and using the 80-20 rule, look for the ones that will improve your gameplay the most. Definitely, I think farming is important for many heroes, so this is one of the ones I'd recommend you focus on if you are a bit slow in this department. There are heaps and heaps of other mistakes and errors you can make, including not taking objectives after team fights, bad positioning, miscasting spells, playing too aggressive or defensive, not punishing overextending enemies, poor randomization, and the list goes on. As you get better, you'll find more and more of these, and I definitely think that by following these generalizations on things to look at, you'll work out many of them for yourself. This is all I have for today, and I really encourage you to give this a try. It might take away from your usual game time, but it is extremely important for your learning and growth in Dota. Anyway, thanks for watching and being part of Gamers Class. I'm Defied from Gamers Class, and again from YouTube at youtube.com/Defied. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.